got to do what I do. You might want to be around me, baby, but you got to become me. Why? Because I am holy. And the Bible declares, be ye holy, for I am holy. And if you can't get down with that, you got to go somewhere and find somebody that want to do what you do. Because I am a child of God. You got to get going, baby. All the time. I'm going to church. You can hang on me all day, but when it's time to go to church, I got to go to Walmart. You got to change. That's what you were called to do. Because if somebody hanging around you all the time and they don't care, they don't share your common interest, and eventually you don't change them, you need to check your holiness. You got to go to the biblical library and read up on what Holy Ghost is. Because once that thing comes in you and dwells in you, it's not supposed to stay hidden. It's supposed to radiate. It's supposed to shine. And see, understand, this thing is contagious. Because once I get myself hooked onto somebody, either he coming or he not. And if he don't come, my Holy Ghost gonna drag him. And boy, you got to come. My Holy Ghost gonna take him. Baby, you got to come. It's got to do that. If he don't do that, it ain't working. Put some more batteries in. My pastor back at home would say, go back to Jerusalem and stay there until you get power from on high. That's what some of us need to do. We have to be careful who we associate ourselves with. Y'all waited 2 years for this. I'm going to preach now. Careful who you associate yourself with. Now we're going to preach in a little bit. Now we see here in this book. I wrestle with this thing, y'all. Now we see that after he cast the woman out, some folk are offended. Yes, they are. Some folk get mad now. That's right. Folk that ain't had nothing to do with nothing mad. I can understand her masters being mad. But what the devil has got to do with the magistrate? How in the world did the principalities get involved? How did the government get involved? I can understand her owners whose hope of gain was going, whose money-making scheme was uncovered. But what does it have to do with the pastor on the other side of the road? I understand that once he got hold of me and helped me get delivered, I can understand maybe my crackhead associate being mad. But what it got to do with the man down the road? Watch this. When the masters found out, and this is how the devil is to understand, it was a scheme of Satan to begin with. And so when Satan figured out that she was delivered, it messed him up, because Paul said, if I cast this demon out of this woman, it will discredit the fact that I'm with the devil. Because Jesus already done that. They said he must be the devil. Jesus said, how can a devil cast out a devil? So Paul has to walk in the footsteps of Christ. And Paul is saying now, if I can discredit the devil, because he's an accuser, that's what he's called to do. Don't get weary in well-doing, saints, because his job is to discredit who you are. His job is to get you mad enough just to the point that you cuss just a little bit. Not just cuss, but you cuss around church folk. That's his job. It's to mess you up. So Paul, knowing this, had to discredit that thing and reverse it. And so now the masters are upset because they can't make no more money. The pastor across the street upset because there's a new man of God coming up, and he's saying this man might build a church. And if he build a church, he might fill his up. And then I lose my members, I can't pay him, and I can't get paid. Oh no! So now we got to go tell somebody. We got to get the government involved. And so, right about the 20th verse, the 19th, it says, and when her master saw saw that the hope of their gains were gone, they caught Paul and Silas and drew them to the marketplace and to the rulers, and brought them to the magistrates, saying, these men being Jews. Now, if I read the text right, all of them were Jews. They were a different tribe of Jews. Paul was a Benjaminite, which means he came out the tribe of Benjamin. But the people that were in there in the city already were just another tribe of Jews. And so what that's telling me is that sometimes the same Negroes that sleep in your house, the same folk that gave you a ride to work this morning, are the same folk who are dragging you to the magistrate's office. They're the same folk. See, they're setting you up. And see, if you had been obedient in the first place, your associates wouldn't have gotten mixed up. If you had went where God told you to go, you wouldn't be around the wrong folk anyhow. So now your associates are screwed up. And the same folk that you smile with, eat breakfast with, go to church with, hold hands and shout with at Megafest, are the same folk who dragging you down to the manager's office to get your tail beat. And so we see now, I mean, you're going to preach this thing, we got to join service in a little bit. And it says, and teach customs which are not lawful for us to receive. Notice the word. The wording is not lawful for us to receive. That's right. That's right. When you receive something, you make it yours. That's right. That's right. And so not necessarily that it wasn't lawful, or not that it was bad, but they just couldn't receive it. And so since they couldn't receive it, they got down to the 22nd verse. And the multitude rose up together. Against them. And the magistrates rent off their clothes and did lay many stripes upon them. And when they had laid many stripes upon them, they cast them into the inner part. And now what the devil is doing is he's gotten you. And he ain't just picking with you, but he tormenting you. He got you not just in prison, but he got you in the inner part of the prison. You can't even see the outside. Your situation has gotten so bleak and messed up. Your stuff done got so stinking. And your situation done got you so boggled that you can't even see the other side of the road. And what the devil wants to do is he wants to keep it that way. And so instead of just messing with you, he begins to put you in the inner part of the prison. Not only are your lights cut off, but your baby ain't got no food. Not only is your baby hungry, but you need some more shoes. Not only that, but you done lost your job. And the devil said, if I can get them in the inner part of the prison, then I know that everything is over for them. And so when they get them in there, I can't preach his name just yet. He said, when I get them there, he says, the jailer to keep charge over them. Now watch the penalty for the jailer. If the jailer didn't watch them good enough and they happened to get loose, the jailer was put to death.